Okay, today we're going to talk about Google Ads, Google PPC, pay-per-click. There's such a misconception about this. I've had guys that we were running PPC for them for, 6 months. Got a call and said, hey, what's that PPC stuff? So Google pay-per-click, Google Ads, it used to be Google AdWords. Of course, Google loves renaming everything, so it's Google Ads now. Let's talk about what this is, because most everybody thinks you just throw some keywords in there and boom, you're good to go, and that is by far not the case. So you're looking at a dashboard right now, and this is a really successful account, and I'm going to show you some reasons that it is. But the first thing that you need to understand thoroughly is that this is not just you go and you put some keywords in there. This is an auction. If you've ever been to an equipment auction, if you've ever been to a car auction, well, this is the same thing. You're bidding on these keywords for one, and then you've got an overall budget for number two. So that is the first misconception, is that people really don't understand that this is actually an auction. It's a split-second auction, so Google knows what's going on, and they're going to drive things to where they want. But you can see that this guy, his budget's $22,000, but he only spent $14,000. And that'll just show you that impression shares and everything are down right now because we've been in summer. So another thing about this particular client is he spends a lot of money on branding. Branding will bring your CPC, your cost per click, down. You'll see in this first 10 impression share results that his name, the company name's in there 4 times. So that's 40% right there. That's great. You'll also see over here in the auction insights that he's almost 30% impression share, which is really strong. That's not the end all to be all, but that all of these things are extremely important. All your ad groups, your extensions, your location extensions to get you a little ad in the local pack, video, advertising. So the main thing about today's video was to explain what Google pay-per-click is, and a couple of things that will make you either successful or either not. If you're brand new, if this is a brand new account, you got to remember there's going to be a 30-day burn on money in this. You can just count on it. There's an AI in every product that Google has now, and all these products, all these things are products to Google, whether it be Google My Business, which is Google Business Profile now, Google Ads, Google Analytics. It's AI and everything. So you set these up, and you've got to let the AI learn. You've got to learn your market, got to learn you. They're going to learn you by your website and other things. They're going to learn what you've got going on in here. What destination do you put your links to? What quality of page is that? That's going to up your quality score, which is also going to bring your cost per click down. And these things over time are extremely important. You're not going to get a great quality score out of the gate. You're not going to get great impression share out of the gate. You got to work and earn it. It's just like anything else. It's going to take a minute. So what are two things that I see that make guys unsuccessful? The number one thing is setting their overall monthly budget too low. So let's just say that you're in Memphis. Let's say you're in Dallas, Texas. Let's say you're in Tampa, Florida. These are big markets. A lot of people in them. You're not going to be successful with a $1,500 budget. You're just not. You're going to get what's called closed out of the auction. It's just, all right, let's say we go to a car auction, and there's cars that are coming through, and every one of them are going to be $10,000 or more. And you're willing to bid $5,000. Go home. You're not going to get the car. And it's basically the same thing with Google Ads. If you don't set your budget high enough for what these keywords are costing, and in a lot of those markets, you're going to be looking at a $5 to maybe even $8 cost per click for a keyword. Okay, well, if you've got a $1,500 budget set, how's Google going to serve you over a 30-day period and be successful? Keep you out there with enough impression shares to get you enough clicks, to get you enough calls. Because you got to remember, you got to get enough impressions, then you're going to get some clicks. Then out of those clicks, you're going to get some form fills, you're going to get some calls. So then you're going to get a conversion cost. So Google a couple of years ago said, all right, we're going to make this easier for businesses to run. I assure you, all they've done is make it harder with a lot of their automation, which, I'm about some of it. I'm certainly not about all of it. A lot of the things that Google has set up is good for Google, but not necessarily good for you. It's just like this, your optimization score is called an Opti score. All right, well, you got to be above a 70% to keep your Google badge. And a lot of times the things that makes that score go up are adding things to this account that are absolutely not good for the client. It could be that keyword suggestions that they've got make no sense for this particular client, yet they want you to do it. Of course, you can get around that, but there's a lot of things that Google is doing that's not good for you, but it's certainly good for them. And that's why they take their money to the bank in a dump truck. So not bidding enough is the number one problem, or your budget, your overall budget. That's the number one problem I see. Also, guys are not patient enough to let it get going. This account's been out there for many years now, but when it first got started, it took a minute for this thing to get going too. But now this client kills it with this Google Ads account, and Google loves legacy. So the older a company is, I've seen 30-year-old roofing companies with just awful websites rank number one simply because they're 30 years old, and the average company age in that market might be 10, 12 years old. So you got a company that's twice as old, been out there, it's all over the web. Even if they have not been doing a ton of stuff for Google, it's still going to be important. So not giving the account enough time, not giving the account enough money. And if you're trying to do this yourself, you need to be really careful, because Google's just going to take your money, and you'll get a little bit, but over time, you want those conversions up, you want that conversion cost down, you want your impression share up, you want your quality score better, you want your optimization score to be okay, but where it makes sense for you. So, a couple of takeaways here. Don't set your overall monthly budget too low. Give it time, and remember, this is an auction. You're bidding against other companies, and some of these guys are the real deal. Let's just face it. In every large market, there's going to be some killers in there. So be careful setting these things up if you're doing it yourself. I would recommend getting some professional help, no matter who that is. Check them out. Make sure that here. This is another thing. Conversions. What is a conversion to a roofing company or a remodel company? Well, it depends on what the obviously a lead, but a form fill or a phone call. So you need to have CallRail set up, because you want all of that data to feed back in here to Google Ads, so Google knows what's going on with that phone call. So in CallRail in particular, that's what we use. You can set a value to that phone call. So if it's a 90-second phone call or a 3-minute phone call, we will set that up, maybe a $50 value or an $80 value, depending on what keywords the AI and CallRail's here. So we set up the same thing. It's going to be listening for keywords, key phrases, and that's going to feed back into Google. And if we set a $70 value for this particular call, Google knows we want more of it. So anyway, it can get pretty complicated, especially making sure that you've got all of your code on the site right. Make sure you've got your Google Analytics and Google Search Console all set up right. So just watch what you're doing. I would suggest getting some professional help, somebody. And then just open up that wallet and let it go, and you will make money on Google Ads. It might take a minute, month or two, but you will make money on Google Ads. So reach out if you need any help.